Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend as we're going to try to recap everything that's going on in the sports weekend, not only with Razorback football, but college football in general. Good grief. It continues to get more chaotic as the weeks go on, but we'll get into some of the reactions there. We have Razorback basketball happening tonight. There's another exhibition going down there in Memphis, so I'm sure we'll do a little fun previewing of that. We'll get the best and worst of the weekend. We'll have some chats that I'm sure we'll get into, and you all are going to be very level-headed and nice to us today. And, you know, whatever comes our way, who knows, maybe there'll be some breaking news happening during the show today. That's what we can always hope for. But fellas, it's good to see you again. How are the vibes here on this Monday afternoon?
Pretty good. Good to see you guys as well. Got my parents coming into town. That's cool. They'll get to hang out with their grandbaby a little bit and spoil him. I'm very excited. I'm very much here for the evening crowd. Like I'm looking forward to this basketball exhibition. It was really, really nice to see the fellas play on Friday. I'm looking forward to seeing them again. And I don't know, like keep your coffee hot or whatever it is that you do late at night, because it is going to be a late one, but we need you for the Pot at the Palace post-game show. Really looking forward to it. Anytime there's basketball, the day is good.
Yeah, I'm in about as good of a mood as one could be coming off of a Saturday where the team you cover imploded completely. The basketball team has a lot to do with that, man. It's hard to be too sad when the boys are playing basketball tonight on television against a real opponent. We get to see them in action, and they look so good on Friday. That's exciting. I think it's also a good time of year, too. I mean, it's Halloween week. Everybody's going to be dressed up this week, and maybe we'll be dressed up at some point this week. Who knows? We'll see. And, you know, then you're launching into Thanksgiving, and you're launching into Christmas. I'm already starting to make holiday plans. It's just a good time of year. The weather's starting to get cold outside. It's good times, good vibes, aside from Arkansas football.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If you take away everything except for the thing that, you know, you wish was really good and having fun with. Yeah, I mean, it is. But that is the best time of the year. And that's what makes it so much fun is to talk about all of these things. And we're going to do our best to talk about it, because I'm sure no one wants to talk about the coaching search or the latest and that, and, you know, throwing names out there that I'm sure talked about. And, you know, it's just chaotic and it's fun, but we'll get into that part of it. But Bobby Petrino, as everybody knows, is still technically the head coach of Arkansas for the time being, at least. And we had a press conference with him at noon today. That's why we're always usually a little bit late on Mondays, is hearing from Bobby Petrino. Might have been the shortest press conference of the year when it comes to previewing. I think it's 15 minutes, something like that. We'll have a couple of clips, because I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't know about you. I do not care about the matchup between Taylon Green and the Mississippi State defense. I do not care. I don't think really anyone else does. But just as far as, you know, I asked this question, but considering where Bobby was a week ago and how he was maybe feeling about his chances of the job, and to where it is now, the vibe of the press conference, did you guys feel anything different, see anything different, body language, tone, anything like that?
Well, my body language just got drastically better after I heard you say you don't care about the intricacies of this matchup coming, because I was like, oh, man, I'm really going to have to work hard to get myself there. So thank God. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit at some point. But, you know, that was a tough one for the Bobby crowd on Saturday, right? I mean, because, yes, momentum was building. All that stuff was very, very real, but it was all contingent on kind of doing what you were supposed to do these next couple weeks here, and you didn't, and it was ugly the way that it went down. He knows that. Everybody knows that. And seems like he was pretty pissed about it. Like, I mean, he was very openly not pleased with how Taylon Green performed, not pleased with his offensive line or his offense in general. He wore a lot of that responsibility there. And then he wasn't very interested in talking about the future of the program and the resources and everything involved either. When he first sat down, guys, and was getting started, he's getting kind of chummy with one of the media members. I don't know who it was, and kind of had the smile on his face. And I was like, wait a second. If we're doing the body language expert thing again, he seems awfully chipper given what happened. The further along we got into it, I was like, no, he's pretty pissed about where things stand.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see the tenor of the fan base. I know we just talked about the basketball game playing tonight, and sort of how it's a time where you could maybe transition if you're a fan and really want to assert where you care about. The thing that I think kept a lot of people on board these last few weeks is that you had to see how this Bobby thing played out. We knew when Sam Pittman was fired, by the time the Notre Dame game was done, hell, by the time the Memphis game was done, you kind of knew, okay, this isn't going to be an awesome 2025 Razorback football season, but could there still be some cool things that happen? Could there still be some things that maybe change the big picture direction of the program? How's this coaching search going to play out? Like, those are the things that kept so many people on board. And hell, even a week ago, we were still having these conversations of like, hey, is Bobby the guy? Do you remove the interim tag? All that, yada, yada. And so, like you said, it's a tough game for that crowd. And so now that it doesn't look like it's trending toward that direction, not to, we're not calling it a day necessarily. They're still going to play these next 4 games or whatever, but it doesn't look like it's heading toward that direction. There's not much of that buzz and momentum. I wonder where the fan base goes from here. And I don't say that like sarcastically. Like, I genuinely am curious, because a lot of times you have at least something you can tie yourself back to of like, oh, well, this sucks, but at least we have this thing over here going on. Well, this isn't great, but at least we have this. I don't know what that is necessarily for Arkansas football fans right now. And so will they just turn into straight up abstaining from the product overall? Will they just kind of, come together and be mad together? I don't know what that's going to look like. And so I'm very interested to hear like what the next steps are for the general psyche.
Yeah, I feel like, and I know we talked about it in the post-game show on Saturday, and I've discussed on Locked On and everything, but man, it's just, if you were somebody that was very anti-Bobby, which I know that there were quite a few of you out there, Saturday was the best thing for you. And in some cases, it's like a relief of a ways of, hey, it ended, so now we can just focus somewhere else. We can just focus on a different direction. But hearing Bobby in the press conference today, and you talked about him being pissed about the performance of the offense, Curtis, to me, he didn't say this, but I bet you anything, he's just like, I'm pissed at you because you cost me this job. You cost me this job that I wanted, that I had about 3 weeks of favor and of excitement and people buying into me and people loving me and people, cheering me on and everyone saying, man, I got this guy. And because of your performance and because of the way you played, you cost me the job. That's kind of the vibe I got from him and him being upset with the offense. But he did take responsibility. So I'm not saying like he's actually blaming them, but knowing the situation, it kind of feels like that. And I don't blame him. I mean, again, ultimately he's the offense guy and they needed to play better and he's taking responsibility. But, this was, I think, his last ditch effort, not only for this year to be the Arkansas head coach, but to be a major head coach again in general. Like, this was his last chance at it. And that game against Auburn may have cost him that. Of course, if they roll off and win 4 in a row, okay, maybe something weird happens. But, are they going to wait that long? I don't really know, but it's just a matter of considering the circumstances and going back to, no one really caring about the game itself against Mississippi State. That's what it is. It's kind of like, all right, we have cut that off. We are done with the Bobby thing. So let's actually talk about some coaching searches. And I don't even know how many people are going to be there, guys, on Saturday. I really don't. And there may be a better crowd than what I think. Oh, it's homecoming. So, you get the homecoming boost because everybody cares about homecoming. But I don't know. It feels like it all came to an end pretty much.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Going back to the beginning, what you were saying there, this is your fault. You did this. You screwed me. Doesn't that sound very Brian Kelly-ish?
Yes.
Given the situation down there in Baton Rouge. But listen, he's only human. I was thinking it while I was watching it. You know what I mean? So I'm sure whether he came out right and said it in that locker room or something, or he just, felt it deep down inside. How could you not feel that way given the circumstances there? But yeah, I have no idea what to expect on Saturday. I expect a bad football game between 2 bad football teams. But outside of that, in terms of the crowd, the attention span, and people who are there being locked in, which I thought was non-existent from being in that stadium on Saturday. I just have no idea, man. And you're right, because I kept telling myself, the last 3 weeks, oh, this is a fun watch. Like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. Yeah, I'm, it's kind of a wash year or whatever, but I'm looking forward to these games and everything. And I think it was because of what you were saying, Andrew. Like, you just kind of had to wait and see how it was going to play out with Bobby here. Because it's not like they were really playing for, they could, go to the playoff or, the bowl game or, what the hell ever. Now it just feels like you almost just got to kind of get it over with and then figure out what you're going to do with the program moving forward. It's one thing for me to feel that way, or for, a certain number of fans or whatever to feel that way. The real question is, do the players feel that way? Because they could, stay locked in. I know Bobby said that he's been happy with their attitude and their approach during all this. And then maybe they're competitive. Maybe they win a game or two here down the stretch. Great. I always want to win, but you are kind of teetering towards the danger zone in terms of it just kind of falling off the rails. I hope that doesn't happen because I think it makes it complicated for the next guy. I really do.
One of the things I think we realized and acknowledged early on is that it's very possible Bobby does a good job and that it doesn't result in him getting the full-time job. That was always something that was in play. And I think, honestly, even after Saturday, for the most part, that is still kind of what has happened. But like you guys said, like, it's just not something, you had to reach a certain threshold, and it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And I think the way it played out also with it being an offensive implosion, if it had simply been, hey, they gave up 50 because of the defense, maybe it is a little bit different. But I think the way that this game felt like one that you had to get, it was right there for the taking, and the offense wasn't able to win that game. I think that certainly matters in this discussion. In terms of the stakes moving forward, one thing I think that's important to consider is obviously they played Mississippi State Saturday, but then they go into a bye week where if you lose on Saturday, you're no longer bowl eligible or no longer even have a chance to be bowl eligible, and you would be going into a bye week. So if there were ever a time for a youth movement, a bench everybody and, tell the seniors to go kick rocks or whatever, and maybe you make a move at quarterback, maybe you make a move at wide receiver, maybe you play Courtney Crutchfield, it would probably come after this game. And so I think for someone like Taylon Green, for maybe some of these senior defensive players who have been pouting all year, you better play hard Saturday because that might be the last time you play. You lose this game Saturday, all of a sudden we might be rolling with KJ Jackson and rolling with the freshman defensive lineman and just saying screw it. And so I think that's maybe something to monitor. I don't know if that's a good selling point for this fan base of like, hey, here's why you should watch the game. They might bench all these seniors that suck, but that's what I got for you.
Yeah, I guess we know random things, but David Oakey's not playing; he's out for the year, and Cam Ball is kind of going to be practicing, but no contact. And then Philip Lee is just he's still there. So
I wish Bobby would just come out and say like, hey, he fell down the depth chart or he pissed me off or whatever, as opposed to tackling it the way he had. Just say it, man. Like, hey, yeah, you're right. Philip Lee's not playing because he stinks or because of this or that. But the whole thing about was this package or well, yeah, it was just because of the guys who were out there or whatever. Listen, man, you've got like 4 defensive linemen on this team that should be out on the field, period. He looked like one of them earlier in the year. Is he hurt? Is he in trouble? Did he just get past? What happened?
Yeah, that was the thing that cracked me up. I'm like, anything, if you have like 2 running backs that are healthy and you're just giving it to one running back and the other running back didn't play and you're like, oh, it just wasn't the package. There's a package. You have nobody out there. The package is you need bodies. That's your package. You need bodies out there. But yeah, that was just it was humorous, at least in that regard. But we'll continue to talk about this and also some other things going on because I know there's a lot of stuff to try to get into. But I want to remind everybody that Drain Masters of Arkansas is the officially licensed plumbing and drain cleaning service here of Inside Arkansas. They serve the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas, Oklahoma, and beyond, and they're ready to handle all of your plumbing and drain cleaning needs with professional and reliable service. And it's really easy to do as far as requesting the service because they're going to come out to you and handle it and make sure that you're good to go when it comes to all of your drain cleaning and plumbing needs. You can call them at 479-646-5585. That's 479-646-5585. Or you can scan that QR code right there on your screen. It'll take you right to their website, and you can check out the ways to request a service. They also have a Facebook page you can look at and hear about all the great things that they have going on over there at Drain Masters of Arkansas. And the best thing about it, if you tell them that Inside Arkansas sent you, give them a little shout out there, give us a little shout out. They're going to get 10% off all of their services to help you out. So anything that you need, they're the ones to do it. And if you mention Inside Arkansas, 10% off. It's as simple as that. Anything and everything plumbing related, no job is too big or too small. Drain Masters of Arkansas will have you covered. So call them today to request a service at 479-646-5585. All right, guys. So forget the game. Forget that. Let's just let's get into the real steak, the real meat of what everybody wants to talk about here. The coaching search. Now, I want to preface this, which, it's not like, there's just some new updates that are going on, but I think this is a big enough news that can potentially impact Arkansas. Brian Kelly got fired yesterday from LSU, just straight up fired. And it's amazing how Arkansas, it feels like decades ago that they fired Sam Pittman, just because of the chaos that's happening with college football. Brian Kelly gets fired from LSU. So now you have LSU officially open for head coaching position. We know about Florida. Still got Penn State. several others. And then there's still some that potentially could come open. But just looking at, we'll talk about Brian Kelly and LSU. What'd you make of that? Was it the right move? Was it surprising to you? Just how'd you feel about it?
I think it was the right move. It's big, 40,000 foot view. It's surprising to me, but after watching Saturday, it's not. I can't remember if it was on a post game or in here or where it was, but somebody sent us a super chat that was talking about Brian Kelly being fired by the time Arkansas plays LSU. And I remember saying it's not going to get to that. But the pathway for it to get to that was what happened Saturday for sure. So I was wrong because I didn't expect it to be like that. He made a complete ass of himself that entire game. First of all, they just got worked. They got embarrassed. It looked like a Texas A&M home game by the end. It was crazy and it was emphatic out there on the field. But every time the camera on him, he was MFing another, member of his coaching staff or, the freaking towel boy or, a player or whatever. He just came across like a douche, man. And when you're doing that and you're losing games and you've never really ingrained yourself into the fabric of LSU and the culture and the community, I don't blame people for having had enough of it. And I listened to a decent amount of stuff last night, and it sounds like yesterday morning that wasn't really the plan going into the day, that he was probably going to fire a bunch of, maybe his OC and have some staff shakeup or whatever. And then the meeting went awry with the AD. Shocker. I'm stunned that happened. So no, in the end, it's crazy that it went down like that. LSU will probably be better for it, even though they're going to be feeling it in their pockets now. And then as it impacts Arkansas, I know we'll talk way more in depth in that moving forward, but I think it all depends on the direction they go, because they could hire a pretty much any sitting, power conference coach that they want to outside of 3 people, and the trickle down will impact Arkansas. Or they could go, with a, professional guy. But people said Nick Saban or whatever, but somebody who's not a current sitting coach and still a really good hire, and then it wouldn't. But it's certainly something that we got to monitor moving forward as Razorback fans.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very real argument to be made that the LSU head coaching job is a top 2, 3 job in the country, and the standard is very simple. It is winning a national title and very much being in contention for that national title every single season. And once you fall short of that standard, you get fired. Nick Saban, of course, left, went to the NFL. Les Miles won a national title at LSU. As soon as he stopped being a guy that was contending for a national title every year, they fired him. Ed Orgeron won a national title, had the best team we've ever seen in college football. As soon as which it took 1 or 2 years for him to get below that standard of being in contention for a national title every year, he gets fired. And so if you're at LSU, it is pretty simple. If you are not competing for national titles, you are not going to be around long. And for Brian Kelly, there really weren't any excuses this year. And I'm with you, Curtis, in that I didn't necessarily expect it to happen mid-season. I think whether it was going to be into the year, next year, whenever, we could all kind of see that this was probably going to happen eventually. So honestly, credit to LSU with a $52+ million buyout, just saying, nah, enough is enough, man. We got to act now. We got to get in this race. Here we go. And so, yeah, it's certainly going to be a huge domino. Will that necessarily affect Arkansas? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see who they hire. I mean, I don't know if there's necessarily going to be an overlap between who Arkansas goes after and who LSU goes after, but who LSU goes after could very well be coaching at a school who then will have some overlap in targets. And so we'll kind of see how this thing plays out. It's going to be fascinating because it's such a big domino to have on the chessboard. But I don't know, man. It's not necessarily stunning. And I got to say, with all my group chats with my buddies, you would think that they had just won the national title the way that they are celebrating. The tenor down there in LSU, they hated Brian Kelly. They kind of always did, but he was winning enough to where nobody could really say anything. They are very happy about this. There's not one single LSU fan I've seen being like, well, are we sure? Like, it's not even a up for debate type of thing.
Well, to what you were saying, Curtis, about the meeting that they reportedly had, I'm like, it takes a next level tool bag to go into something like that where they're not really looking to fire you, and you have one meeting and suddenly they're like, okay, we can't do this. You're done. Like that, that's an insane thing. Knowing that, we're not saying that they were not going to at all, but to say, hey, this is still salvageable. This, maybe if we make some moves here, knowing the buyout, knowing all of that, just to be like, yeah, okay, dude, like, you're out. We can't handle this anymore. And the celebration of it, he was just extremely unlikable in so many regards. And I don't know what's going to happen with him as far as his next coaching gig or where he goes or anything like that. But it is just, it's amazing to me to think like LSU, like in what you said, Andrew, one of the best jobs out there in college football. Are they going to go for the big name? Are they going to go for Lane Kiffin? Are they going to go for something like a guy that's up and coming? Like, I don't really know, but that's where it's fascinating for a place like Arkansas, because so many people, and I feel like some people are like, oh man, this just makes it 20 times worse. I'm like, no, it only makes it worse if it's a job. Like if Lane Kiffin left for LSU and if Ole Miss is open, okay, that's a thing. But I don't think that LSU opening up suddenly as a Razorback fan should be like, oh man, this really hurt us because this one coach was going to come here and now he's not because LSU opened up. I just don't see that being the case in this.
Well, first of all, I've witnessed one of these meetings that went away that it wasn't supposed to. At the college I was at before I moved down here, our football coach in the middle of the season, he broke a rule. I can't remember. It was something like with camp money or like, it wasn't a huge deal, but it was like hey, you can't do that. We're going to have to do like the formal write-up thing. And I was sitting right outside of the office because our head basketball coach at the time was the AD. And it started as, hey, you can't do this. It's your formal write-up. I need you to sign it. And it turned into the coach saying, actually, this is a you problem because you're, teeing off on him. And then it was F you, no F you, you're fired, no I quit. And then boom, we were out of football coach like 5 games in the year. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. It probably went something like that. But yeah, as for the LSU job, I tie it a little bit closer to Arkansas, I think, just because I feel like they're not just going to take anybody. Like I don't see, and I know there's kind of a natural connection there. I don't think LSU is going to go hire John Summerall. I don't think they're going to hire an Alex Golesh. I think they're going to hire a sitting coach from frankly, a program that is better than Arkansas is right now. It just depends on where it's from. But like, if it's another one in the SEC, like if it is, Kiffin or whatever in the SEC, drink at Missouri, sorry, is what it is. Those jobs coming open are going to be more coveted than Arkansas is. I hate to say it, but I think that's the way it's going to be. But it does depend on which way they go. They could easily go and get their boy Brady and move on, whatever. But I do think that this could push Arkansas down a little bit. And you're on a fine line right now of the types of candidates that you're going to be able to attract. And, I know that Arkansas is trying to put together the resources to, make a splash or have everything you need to entice these guys. But there are also programs out there who are already in that position and have proven that they can sustain it more than just a 1-year splash or whatever. So I do think it could get complicated for Arkansas here. Personally, I could be wrong.
Yeah, but I also don't think, by the way, I don't think James Franklin is going to be a candidate for LSU simply because he would be way too similar to the Brian Kelly hire. You're taking a guy who's at a program kind of in that same little area and, he's coming down. Is he a great fit? Whatever. I think that would be almost too similar. So that's another thing. I think we all correctly view this thing through the lens of, there's a rung, there is a ladder, and there's X amount of jobs that are going to be available. Where is Arkansas on that ladder, and how far down will they end up? And they're going to kind of get what is left over. It's like a food chain of you just get whatever's left on the plate after these other teams make their pick. And I don't think the reason we feel that way is because of what Arkansas's place is as a program. But need I remind you, Arkansas opened up before all of these freaking jobs. So the fact that Arkansas has not been tied to anyone yet is absolutely insane. And I cannot believe that that's just a thing that we're all accepting. Because I'm with you, Curtis, that if we wait and see how this thing plays out and we let everyone make their picks, I do agree that Arkansas is going to have probably the crumbs that are left on the table. But I think it would be in Arkansas's best interest to go ahead and get connected to a guy now. Because I'm with you, John. I think if Arkansas is connected to, let's just say, Alex Golesh, I don't think LSU is going to directly come and compete for Alex Golesh with Arkansas. But I think if we wait for LSU to make their hire and they hire Lane Kiffin, now all of a sudden Ole Miss is open. Now they're connected to Alex Golesh. That would be the scenario. So I think if Arkansas could go ahead and lock up a deal with James Franklin, go ahead and start having that conversation. I don't think LSU is going to come in, and mess that up. But I think if you wait until late November, maybe early December, you'll have plenty of time for this whole thing to have played out and for new people to have entered the race. So I think the urgency for Arkansas right now has to be at an all-time high, especially because schools like Florida, schools like Auburn, schools like LSU are probably going to wait and take a big swing. I think Arkansas needs to be at an urgent all-time. Like, you're not going to get your way by waiting for everyone else to make a decision. If you don't believe me, just look at what happened in the last 12 months. You waited. You didn't act with urgency. You didn't try to be forward-thinking. You didn't try to beat all these other teams to the punch. So now you're hiring a coach with all these teams when you could have been hiring a coach before. And obviously Arkansas blew their chance to get a year ahead. But I just think you got to hurry up and get connected to a coach right now and see if it messes up.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got a question I want to ask you guys on top of this, too, in dealing with Arkansas. I'll do that in a second. I want to remind everybody, the Hickey & Hole Law is the official law firm here of Inside Arkansas. Any of your legal troubles or legal advice or legal guidance that you need help with, which, let's be honest, you do, have Hickey & Hole Law be the ones that help you out here in the state of Arkansas. They know how important these cases are, especially when it comes to divorce and custody cases, dealing with family, dealing with possessions, dealing with protection. It's important. So let the pros handle it, where they understand that the foundation of a strong attorney-client relationship is built on that honesty and trust. That's why they pride themselves on building those relationships with you and helping you each and every step of the way. So have Hickey & Hole Law offices help you out. They have offices across the entire state of Arkansas. It doesn't matter if it's in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, or Mena. You can call them today as well at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also check out their website at hickeyandhole.com. Scan that QR code right there on the screen. It's Hickey & Hole Law. Things are about to get better. So, guys, looking at, like, again, the landscape and seeing the LSU job, this is one of the things I kind of, maybe it's a tinfoil hat deal, but I want y'all's thoughts on it. Do you think that the changes that's gone on with college football, whether it's the transfer portal or the NIL and the massive shift that we've seen, has maybe added this an unreal expectation now compared to what it was before at these big college football programs? Because let's be honest, it could just be a coincidence, but it is wild to me. You know, you see Florida obviously open, you see LSU now open. You've had the stuff in the murmurs about Texas and that situation with Sarkisian. You know, we've seen schools like a Michigan not doing as well when they thought they were all in. You see a place like a USC, for instance, with Lincoln Riley. You know, they kind of thought that they would arrive and they just haven't been there. And then we continue to see places like Indiana and Vanderbilt keeps winning for some reason. Is it just maybe coincidental, or is it maybe something to be said about, hey, there's some more, how do I put this? There's a little bit more incentive maybe for coaches to go to less pressured schools with still some high support than the high pressure schools with a high level support and end up being a little bit more successful there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe so. I guess it depends on how competitive you are. Because as a coach, you know, if I'm anyone really, like, I want to go to the place where I've got the best opportunity to win. And it's like, if that's LSU, if we think that's one of the top 3 jobs in the country and you know, the resources that they have and everything, that's where I want to be. Although I agree to the point of, like, there's added pressure now. There's no such thing as, like, grace for rebuilding. It's reload and do it immediately. And that's to your point, John, about the transfer portal and NIL and everything like that. And also the expansion of the playoff to 12 teams, like, theoretically easier to get in for these schools that have national championship aspirations anyway. So yeah. Brian Kelly, what was it? Year 4? You haven't won a title yet or been in that. You're out of here, dude. James Franklin, you just went to the semi. You were 1 drive away from being in the championship game. High expectations this year. You lose 3 games, get the hell out of here. We don't care that we owe you $50 million. And so, yeah, there is something to be said for that. If I'm a coach, though, and I believe in myself and my ability to do these things with the right type of resources, I'm not thinking about, oh, but if I come up short, I'm going to get fired in a few years. I'm going there saying, man, I'm going to turn this into a powerhouse. This is about to be my dynasty. I get what you're saying, though, John, in terms of how it could be seen that way. And I do wonder, to piggyback on your point here, guys who have been in this situation and just gotten screwed, like, you know, James Franklin is a casualty of exactly what you're talking about. Brian Kelly, more to, you know, some other things there, but guys who have been in those spots with those high expectations that have gotten let go, not because your program is tanked, not because you've been doing a bunch of 4 and 8s and or you've been, you know, historically average or below average or whatever, but because you're just one tier short of the mecca of the sport, and then you get run out of town. If I'm one of those guys, maybe I am a little bit more apt to being like, you know what, I could go to this school. It's in a good league. They're going to have resources, and they're not going to try to burn my house down if I haven't won a ring in 3 years.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something conceptually to the idea of, yeah, you go somewhere where there's less pressure and you get that same type of commitment. That would be interesting. Like, I do think Clark Lee is just having a better time, having more fun than Hugh Freeze or, hell, even Sarkisian starting to clean out the cabinet a little bit. I think there is something to be said about heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like, when you're at a big school like that, that is something that I think scares some coaches. In hell, it scares Rhett Lashley thinking about coming to Arkansas and being in an SEC school and having people point at you. He doesn't want that. So I definitely don't think it's crazy. The only problem is I don't think Arkansas is viewed as a job that will actually support you. It's a job where there's low pressure, but you also aren't getting that support. And so until that narrative changes, it's going to be hard for Arkansas to sell someone on that. And I think what we've also seen is that the expectations where when you get hired, you may be taking over a 2-10 program, but then if you go a couple years and you're not 2-10, the expectation is no longer 2-10. I mean, Mark Stoops was a guy at Kentucky that we were like, oh man, he took over a completely horrible Kentucky team. He built them up, respectable. How awesome is this? Now he's about to get fired at Kentucky because the standard that he set, you know what I mean? And so I think if you're a coach that really is trying to get to the top, these are things you consider, but I do think that trying to put yourself in a position to win a national title is going to take precedent. And Arkansas is not going to give their next head coach a chance to do that. I also don't necessarily know for sure that Arkansas is going to financially support their next head coach.
Yeah. And I think, to me, guys, it's also all it's going to take is that 1 year. And who knows, maybe it's this year. That 1 year where a non-big time team wins a championship. Like, in college basketball, in the NCAA tournament, we love the Cinderella stories and everything, but more often than not, the Cinderella stories strike midnight at some point. And, they don't, usually it's still the big dogs that win the titles. It's still the Dukes. It's still the North Carolinas, more often than not. It's amazing how I think, at least it may not even be true, but just the mentality and the approach. Say if Indiana just randomly won the championship this year in college football, I think that's just going to turn a lot of people's minds around and saying, well, hey, you can win anywhere now. You can do this, you can do that. It's kind of like when Boise State beat Oklahoma in that Fiesta Bowl. It suddenly opened people's minds like, whoa, hey, even if it was just a once-in-a-lifetime thing, it's like, hey, the teams are starting to catch up now. These group of 5 teams are starting to catch up. I think it'd be the same thing where some coaches, and it could be coaches, it could be just the mentality and an approach of it, but some people would be like, hey, this is the shift. They're on, this was crazy. The big dogs are no longer big dogs anymore, even if it's not true. So that's what I'm going to be fascinated about later this year. I'm not saying Indiana's going to win it. I don't know who's going to win. It may end up being Ohio State again. It may end up being Georgia again. It may just be something per usual. But, man, I just feel like if one of these teams that are playing really well come out of the blue and win a title, I think that's really going to make people overreact to the shifting, which it has shifted, but overreact even more so to it because of one team having one title in 1 year.
Yeah, probably so. And, if I am an Arkansas fan or a fan of whoever, and I watch Indiana go do that, or Vanderbilt, hell, they'll probably be in the CFP. I mean, they're trending towards it, man. Then, yeah, it's at least telling me it's possible. You know what I mean? So I guess we'll just see how it all shakes out, man.
I know.
I just, at the end of the day, though, I still feel like the Ohio States are going to be the Ohio States and the Bamas and Georgias are going to be the Bamas and Georgias. But if you can sneak in there, if you can just prove that you can do it, and you're right, because there's a difference, John, in making the playoff and, winning a game or whatever, but then one of those teams actually winning it, actually getting it done. And that would be, I think, what would really, really raise some eyebrows.
I also just have to, again, point out that Arkansas does not share any common traits with any of these programs like a Vanderbilt or an Indiana or a whoever that is maybe going to be that team that is going to be the Cinderella story that wins a title. Arkansas is not only not doing that, they're not even attempting to do that. Arkansas is literally still trying to hire Bobby Petrino. You know what I mean? Like, the idea that like Arkansas is going to hire this cool up and coming coach and convince them, hey, we're going to give you a ton of money and all that. It's like, I don't even think Arkansas is trying to portray that they are. I think they are very much committed to just letting this thing play out and doing whatever option is the easiest and best. And so even if there were a pathway of like, hey, maybe Arkansas could be this, I think we have enough evidence at this point that this athletic department is not necessarily, turning every stone and trying to make sure they find the best possible guy. I really don't think trying to hire the best football coach is even in the top 10 of priorities for this athletic department right now.
Do we think it's more likely that, it's assuming it's not going to be Bobby with the way things are trending here, do we think it's more likely that Arkansas hires a resume, or like the trying to get the next big thing? You know what I mean? Like what do we think they really value here? Is it the production and the track record? Because here's my thought process here, because I'm looking at the multiple sides of the coin. Like, based on the reactions that we see, it seems like nobody with an actual resume is viewed as good enough for this job. Like, because if you have a track record, and here's why: if you have a track record, you have a flaw, right? Everyone does, but especially like the weight class that Arkansas is punching in here. And so that's one side of the coin. But then the other is like trying to get that next home run, up and comer, the Dan Lanning, the Kurt, whoever, whatever. But you have to understand then the risk involved with like the less proven, and you really have to believe in the projection over the actual production that's been there. So it's kind of a weird place to be in. So like for me, like if Arkansas wants proven, if you want someone who's done it, you want a resume to fall back on, then you go hire James Franklin. And I would say go all in and do that. I would take him over Rhett Lashley in that particular scenario. If you want to take a swing for the future, then give me Alex Golish. And I would say give me Alex Golish over John Summerall, right? Or I guess if there was a third side to a coin and you just like this bubble of BS that just seems to never pop, then, do Bobby Petrino and let's pretend he'll hire a great staff and have big boy money and then it'll all be great. But there you go, because people ask us all the time about like, okay, well, who do you want? Whatever. Well, I gave you my top choice from all three scenarios there. So I have now done that.
Yeah, I think it is interesting. You touched on something interesting that like when you have a resume that you have things that people can point to. So all the guys that we hear floated as the coach the most, whether that be, Petrino or Franklin or whoever, those are the guys that we hear people make the most arguments for, but those are also the people we see have the most detractors of people being like, you cannot hire Franklin, you cannot hire this guy or whatever. So I'm with you. I'm kind of interested, and I would like to know that, honestly. Like, we do a lot of polling over here. We've been trying to accumulate as much data as we can. I'd be interested to know, like, do Hawk fans know who some of these guys are? Do they care? Like, would hiring a guy like Will Stein be like inexcusable? Because I've seen some people in our chat make the argument for Will Stein, but I've also seen some people be like, hey, no coordinators no matter what, despite the fact that like 5 of the top 10 teams have hired coordinators. So I'm kind of with you that like if Arkansas is trying to do that next big thing, I think there are some people that would buy into that. But the problem is the U of A, what they do is they try and present stuff that like is acceptable to the general public. So when you ask, are they going to go resume or are they going to go with like a up and coming guy that's less proven? I think they're going to just find any guy that will cost a fair amount of money that they can reasonably present to the fan base and say, is this fine? Like Dan Mullen, like could you stomach Dan Mullen? Like, I don't think they're going into this being like, we're going to find the best possible guy and we're going to make people believe. I think they're just going to try to do the least polarizing thing they can.
Yeah, you're in such a bad situation. You're in a bad combination of things when it comes to, for instance, the fan base, because I have a feeling, to your question, Curtis, that the U of A might be looking at it as, let's go and get a resume, or let's get somebody that people know and have heard of, because the goodwill that the fan base has for you as an administration is gone. Like, they don't have trust in you. They don't trust you to make the right decisions and to make the right guy. And so even if you hired a coach that could end up, because we'll never know, but it could end up being great. But he's not heard of much, and he has 2 seasons at a group of 5 school where he's only won 7 or 8 games, something like that. There's going to be people that are mad, and there's going to be people. There'll be people that buy in just because they're Razorback fans and they want it to work. But it's almost like even if they hired somebody like that could end up being great and be a great fit, they're like, not until I see it. I'm not going to believe this. I think it's going to be crappy. because I don't believe you. I don't trust you. And until we see it, that's how it's going to be. And would that impact people's support? Would it impact the new collective approach that they're going to have when it comes to NIL? Is it going to impact that? But if you hire somebody I'm using James Franklin as the example, somebody like that, it just at least injects that big excitement to it, to where could he end up being as good as maybe some of these up and coming coaches? We don't know. Again, we don't know. But I just think of the situation you're in right now, you don't have any goodwill left as the U of A. So you need to hire somebody that's at least going to make everybody be like, oh, I've heard of him. Oh, I like that guy. Oh, he's won here. Oh, I see how this could work, because you gotta be able to win the fans back, generally speaking.
I mean, think about it. Think about why Sam Pittman got the job. He was the guy that the least amount of people disliked. That is literally, I mean, I know he had a good tenure as an O-line coach, good whatever. He got the job because he was the guy that the least amount of people hated. And I think that's what the University of Arkansas has to be considering right now. You're looking at all these programs become laughing stocks. We've seen Arkansas become laughing stocks. They don't want to do something that is going to piss people off. So as cool as James Franklin would be, they see Arkansas fans complaining about it, and they realize, hey, that would probably piss people off. Or someone like Brian Kelly, who just got fired, who's won a lot of games, that would piss people off if you hired him. If you hired someone that was too unproven, that would piss people off. And so they're going to try and find the least polarizing option possible, which is why I think the Bobby thing was so intriguing to them, because it wouldn't have been super polarizing in the state of Arkansas if they won a couple games and they hired him. I know it would have been polarizing nationally, but they want to do what is going to piss the least amount of people off. And so that's going to end up being some random old Joe that's just as average as one could be.
And that's the Bobby thing there. Yeah, a lot of it's because you have not just nostalgia, but, a resume to fall back on. He has done it here, and, this is kind of the track, and damn it, it just didn't work out. And John, I teed that question up for you specifically. I know who you were hanging out with this weekend, right? But because I kind of get that sense too. And this goes back to our making the case for Alex Golish last week. First thing I said was, if Arkansas had any balls, I think this is the type of move that they would make. And I don't think they do. And I also, for a lot of the reasons you just mentioned, I don't know that they feel like they're in position to do that, given where everything is. And it's almost like you want to make I don't know if splash is the right word, but you want to name somebody that people are familiar with, somebody who's proven some things and done some things. And it's almost like hedging your bet and having that safety net of, if it doesn't work out, being able to go, well, my goodness. I mean, just look at his resume. Did you see what he did at this place? Why wouldn't we have gone that route? And boy, it just turned out it didn't work out. Kind of like Brett Bielema, honestly. Yeah. But I feel like that's kind of the situation that we're in now. That doesn't mean it's going to happen though, because they could take a swing and miss, and then they don't have a choice but to get a little bit more creative with some of the things that they're doing here. That might very well wind up where we're at. But I'm kind of leaning towards I get the sense that they're going to be looking a little bit more towards a resume and somebody that's been around for a while, even with their flaws, because we all have them, as opposed to really trying to get bold and go out and get one of these young guys who could be the next insert name.
Well, and to your point too, Curtis, fans are the ones that have been around for this the whole time. But the past two head coaches you have hired in football before they got to Arkansas, went a combined 14-22 as a head coach. And that's all Chad Morris's record at SMU, because Sam Pittman was not a head coach before. So it's like, the Brett Bielema thing was a big splash hire, but that happened in 2012. That was over a decade ago. It's been a long time. Things have changed a lot. And it's kind of like, people are feeling like, hey, get this one right and hire the guy. And I think, guys, I don't want to be revisionist history here. The last coaching search, when Arkansas went through that, the fans remember that. Fans remember them firing Chad Morris first, and they hired their coach last. And it was a huge risk compared to Missouri, who at least hired Drinkwitz, who had at least been a head coach. Mike Leach goes to Mississippi State. Lane Kiffin goes to Ole Miss. And Arkansas sitting there like, we hired a guy that's never even been a head coach before. And these other programs, which, and I know that Arkansas is hard to beat when they went 4-20 in 2 years, but still at the time, the Ole Miss job was not considered this next level thing or the Missouri thing. And you're like, okay, well, we don't want to do that again. We don't want to go through that again, where we end up just waiting forever, getting the last coach that's available. And the only guy that we can find is someone who's never been a head coach before. So it's almost like I'm hoping that the people involved are just saying, hey, at least going with the intention of swinging big and not taking no for an answer type of thing. Don't do this. Swing big. Oh, I'm interested, but this other place, nah, we are not interested anymore. Like, you got to be able to send a message and showcase that you're serious about this.
Well, I'm glad you said send a message, because that's something I would love for this university to do, because I want to ask you guys, it's been almost exactly 1 month since they fired Sam Pittman. And like you said, since then, a bunch of jobs have opened up. They went from number 1 to number 5, 6, 7, whatever. What should we make as Razorback fans of the fact that I know that they've probably had some conversations. I'm sure they've maybe even talked directly to a coach, but the fact that it's been 1 month and we have not even heard any type of like report from Pete Thamel of like, oh, so-and-so is interested in the Arkansas job. Oh, so-and-so has heard from Arkansas. Oh, hey, Arkansas there might be some connection here. I know there's been some message board rumors here and there, and a lot of message board rumors, but there's not been any serious connection between Arkansas and literally anyone else. So I'm inclined to wonder.
Well, I think maybe to the point that Andrew was trying to get at there, I keep going back to where this was at with Bobby. And I think that plays a big role in this. And again, like I'm sure it wasn't like a unanimous swirling of support, from the powers to be or whatever. But I do think there is something to be said for some folks over there hoping like, all right, showing some progress. Let's get a couple wins here and see what we can do with this. It sure would be the easy way out, or the easiest, outcome when the coaching carousel is as crazy as it is. And, maybe we're just now to that point where you're starting to see maybe the writing on the wall there officially that you got to increase some of those conversations. But we've seen some names that have been, connected to the Arkansas job or who they're very high on. Rhett Lashley is the one that continues to come up frequently. Some people say that he doesn't want to take the job now. What do we expect him to say when he's in the middle of coaching his own team? Who knows? But then, really outside of that, all that we've seen from national sources, or at least everywhere that I can gather, is those G6 names. And it's not the ones that you would expect. Like, it's for a while there, it was Sumrall, but I think a lot of people expect him maybe to go to a little bit of a higher, perceived job. But Alex Golish is a name that I've seen quite a bit. Eric Morris is a name that I've seen quite a bit. And Ryan Silverfield, who beats all those guys that nobody wants to talk about, is another name that I've seen quite a bit. But to your point, Andrew, it's just like, the reporting that comes out just says, well, these guys are have been connected to the Arkansas. There's not much tangible out there right now. And I wonder if that's just a byproduct of it being October.
That's what I'm saying is like, when I say I don't hear names, I see people on, Discord or, random message boards or on Twitter or whatever. And then I see Nakos compile that and put it into a fake little story that is just full of nothing. But I have not heard, like, the only person we heard that Arkansas quote unquote interviewed was that guy from Missouri who clearly did not interview or whatever. I would love to see like Brandon Marcello be like, hey, Arkansas's got to they're going to make this guy say no. I just want to hear that they're doing something,
Because right away when Florida opens, it's like, yeah, they're going to make Lane say no. Right away. LSU opens, it's like, yep, Lane Kiffin, first on the list. That's who they're going to offer a boatload of money to, and then they'll take it from there. Yeah, we haven't had that in this case.
Yeah, and then I know we'll get to your chats, folks, because I know a lot of things going on. But the deal is, for me, is you're getting into a point to where there's a lot of things you'll be able to start fresh on, because it's like the state for the collective. The Arkansas Edge went away. They're going to have a collective. Like, it's not like they're just going to sit back and be like, that went away, so we're just not going to do anything now. Like, they're going to have something. But this is all going to be encompassing into one thing, where a new collective comes in with a new head football coach. Maybe there's even some new other positions that open up, and it's all going to have this newness and this new energy surrounding it, and they're going to take off from there. And so that's where, to me, if you're Arkansas and you're those that are making that decision, you need to approach it in the way of not, because this is the mentality that's really pissed me off so much, is going with, all right, let's do cheaper options. And then, because that's how we have to make money, is we have to cut. No, how you can make money easily is if you go out and drop your balls on the table and saying, this is our guy who we got. And then the money will come flooding in. I don't know if I'm even using the term right, but trickle down economics. That's how I look at it. Just if you hire the big name, the support's going to come with it because people are going to believe. Cal Perry is a great example of that. If you think Arkansas would have had near the support they had if they ended up hiring one of the other people like I don't remember his name, the Kansas State coach, like Tang or Lang or whatever. Yeah, Tang. Yeah, you think they would have that? No, but they went out and spent a ton of money on Cal, and it got people immediately on board. You're not going to get a Calipari hire in football. I know. I'm just saying, if you do that, if you go all out and go all in, you're going to make money. I promise you, you will make money. It's not this thing of, oh, geez, you got to take some risks. You know, it may not make sense financially. It was like, well, what if it doesn't work? What if we don't do it? You can't live that way in this right now. You got to get this right. Go all out. And I promise you, because I know Razorback fans, I know you guys know Razorback fans, if they believe in it and if they believe that they're going to win and they're excited about it, they will give you money. They will give you their support. It's as simple as that.
This is the ultimate fork in the road moment for this program, man, depending on which way they go here. And we might not know if they chose the right path for a few years after it happens, but this is just given where the program has been and, the timing of where we're at with college football. And this is just a massive, massive time to be making a hire, not to mention the carousel surrounding him. I wish I had more confidence, in the powers to be, and we'll see who those powers to be wind up being, I guess. But this is a big one, boys.
Well, John, you said make a message or send a message earlier, and I think this is like the ultimate time to do that. You know what I mean? And like that doesn't mean necessarily, like you said, it's not like we're going to know on the day they hire the coach whether or not they made the right hire, but we'll be able to tell by who you go after and who you talk to and who you end up hiring, like how serious you are. I got to be honest with you. Like we can argue about how good James Franklin is going to be, and I know there's people on both sides of the spectrum here. I think going after someone like James Franklin would send me at least a message of like, oh, dang, they actually are like trying to get someone who is competed at a very high level. That's a very proven coach that other people want. Like that would at least be like me seeing them try and take a big swing, which I would appreciate as a Hog fan. But yeah, 2019, you were in this very similar situation where everyone was hiring their coach. And like you said, John, they opened up first and finished last. Although I will say, what's crazy about that is Mississippi State actually didn't fire their coach until January of that year. Mike Leach didn't get hired at Mississippi State until after Chad Morris started. He didn't even, and they still were able to hire Mike Leach. So even the team that finished after you still got a better coach than you, God rest his soul, of course. This is a time for Arkansas to kind of flip the narrative on their athletic department. Some of the narratives that I and, the three of us have been saying here today of like, they're not going to take a big swing. They're not going to really put their best foot forward. They're not going to do something outside the box. If you want us to not say stuff like that, go prove us wrong. Go out there and take a big swing.
Yeah. And the final thing I'll say about it, we all, us three, we love our movie, The Dark Knight, we watched in Lexington. But, when he says it's not about the money, it's about sending a message. Exactly. Nope, that's not right. The message is sending the message is the money. Like it is about the money. And that is the message you have to send. So that's what you got to make happen. But
Hunter Yurchek watched that movie and was inspired, but his favorite part was not the speech. It was when he burnt the money. That was what he was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Let me do that.
Yeah. Everything burns. And he loves that part.
Forgot to record it.
Yeah, that's right. We'll get to your chats, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in with us, but want to remind everybody, Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas is the place when it comes to the holiday lighting to light up your house and to make your house be the talk of the neighborhood when it comes to this holiday season. We know Halloween is this week, and a lot of you have already used Walter Christmas Lighting to get the Halloween lighting going, but maybe you're like, oh man, I forgot. I didn't do it. I didn't listen to John and Curtis and Andrew when they told me to do this. Well, here's your chance because Christmas is a few months away, but you got to get on it right now because they're going to get busy. They're going to start booking up quick. So if you're looking to get some professional lighting for your home when it comes to this Christmas holiday season, text our guy Brett for a free estimate, 479-459-1380. If you text him, they're going to give you an entire estimate, break it down for you. They'll provide the materials. You can do any color, any pattern. They install it. They have the free maintenance going on throughout the holiday season, as well as they do the takedowns. They do it all for you. All you got to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the great view that your home is going to have with Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. So again, give our guy Brett a text today at 479-459-1380. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. All right, so getting into the chats, folks. Appreciate everybody, and we all know the rules. Super chats get read first, so we appreciate those. But shout out to our guy Hickory Hog, coming to the big dog here. That little basketball action. He says, imagine the game with DJ and Darius guarding you. Then comes 390 pounds of a dog to the scores table in Malik and Billy. Hell, that's where you are, and you'll be kept there for 40 minutes. This team is fun, WPS.
390 pounds of dog is my favorite statement that I've ever heard, and I'm going to use that all season. That's good stuff right there, man. I actually love this theory. If you went with the starting lineup they went with on Friday that had Pringle, instead of Ewan, and Ewan's going to get going, everybody relax. But I'd love the idea of Malik Thomas, microwave scorer, firecracker, and then Malik Ewan, like a go-to versatile scoring option, offensive big man, and then maybe the best defender in the SEC and Billy Richmond as your bench unit. Like that's what teams get tired, and then you insert those three guys into the game. That's a lot of fun to me, man. I think it's cool, but give me the 390 pounds. I was looking at that. I'm like, are we adding a hundo onto Elmer? What's going on here? Oh, you're just comparing, adding up two guards there. I like it.
It sounds like a big number, doesn't it? You're like, 390 pounds. It's like, yeah, it's like, whatever it is per person, 195 or whatever.
Yeah, if only they could just, put one on each other's shoulders, and then maybe it'll work out a little bit better. But yeah, that's always my favorite thing is the overreactions to stuff real quick for basketball. I got a tweet from somebody after the exhibition game against Cincinnati, which I don't know how anybody could watch that and like have any sort of like negative vibes. But one guy was just like, I'm not sure about Ewan. Not sure about him. Like, I want to strangle you. I want
one guy who didn't play awesome the other day.
I want to punch you in the face. If that's the first thing that you tweet to me is that, it's like you need to just get over it, man.
I got a lot of that, and I got a lot of why did Nick Pringle play more? What's the deal? What's going on there?
You won by 40 points. Shut up.
Nobody played 30 minutes. When you win by 150 points, like nobody's going to play that many minutes.
Yeah.
It's just shut up. That's why it just drives me up the wall. Anyways, shout out to Silver Sarge. Appreciate it, man. It says time for the big money to swing for the fence. Bring on a new big time coach.
I feel bad because he made this comment right before we did our whole discussion where we were basically like, they're not going to do that. So I feel bad, but we appreciate that. And we appreciate the sentiment because it is the right mentality.
Give it a shot.
That's right. Just God, I'm sorry. It's like in Star Wars. Tell us that you have a plan, that there's hope. That's what you need to do. Just relay that message. Jason, what's up?
I was just going to say, because the momentum, I think it's all fair for us to say it was real with Bobby. Like, last week, everybody was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what, have the goalposts moved? Yeah. All that was real. And so I just wonder, after the way things went down Saturday, and you feel all that going away, if that is if there were ever the motivation or the kick in the pants for those conversations to get real and that movement to get real, to try to do something a little bit different here, if that wasn't it last weekend, I don't know what will be. And then if they beat Mississippi State, or people will be like, oh, okay, no, actually we're fine. We're fine. Back to the original plan.
I will say that's what I've learned today is that the fan base is not quite over Bobby just yet. Obviously, most, anybody who was already out on Bobby, they remain out on Bobby, but there's been at least a little bit of a congregation in the chat every now and then of like, hey, why not just roll with the, so it's like, to your point, one win I think would get people, there would be at least a small percentage of people that would still be doing the Bobby bit.
Yeah, and that's where it's like, that's going to be the most Arkansas thing ever. It's just like they're going to win and they're going to look good against Mississippi State or something like that, and go into the bye week. And I'm like, we can't do this. Like, Arkansas, you need to come out right now and say Bobby's no longer in contention. And I'm serious about that. They won't, but I'm like, that is what you would need to do. At some point in time, I get it. You want to wait, and because we've talked about, hey, let's see how this plays out. But you cannot continue on with the Bobby as a potential thing in there. And feel like you can move forward. Like, I just feel like if he's not the guy, and even if they lose this weekend against Mississippi State, I still think somebody leak it out to somebody or say Bobby is no longer in contention, because it's just like you said, Andrew. There's going to be always just a little contingent of people being like, well, Bobby, if he gets a good defensive coordinator, it's like, shut up. He's not. It's not what he does. He's not going to go out and get DJ Durkin. That's not what he does. So just again, you need to start cutting out options. Just cut them out, and that way you can move forward.
Hey, watch Auburn just promote DJ Durkin a head coach and roll with it. Take them off the board entirely. I've seen DJ Durkin getting a lot of love here lately, which, by the way, he deserves a lot of love. Their defense really is good, but
pretty nasty. Like, I understand there were some Mother Nature elements involved, but they shut Arkansas down, dude. They did a really good job there. You know, I want Arkansas to win Saturday. Full stop. Exactly. I always want that to be the case. If they do, it's going to be the longest 2 weeks, man. It's going to be the longest 2 weeks.
That's what I'm hoping for, though, because I love the chaos. I don't want us to all agree. I really don't. As much as I try and get us to all agree, I don't want us to all agree.
I can't, man. My mental capacity is just, I don't know if I'm ready for something like that, but we'll manage it no matter what. Oh, man. Shout out to Jason. Appreciate Super Chat. He goes, it is about Jimmys and Joes. Doesn't matter who we hire if we don't commit to bringing in some SEC caliber players, especially on defense, which is a factual statement. I mean, it is.
It is a factual statement, but also I disagree that like who you hire does not directly impact the Jimmys and Joes. Like, it's not like this thing where whoever's the head coach is going to have X amount of NIL. He's going to have a roster of this amount, his recruiting ranking. It's like if you hire a coach like that, those two things I believe are very much tied together. And I think that the U of A probably views it the way you do, Jason, is like, oh, it doesn't matter who we hire. We're gonna have bad players no matter what. And I'm like, I just don't think that's how normal athletic departments run.
This is why I'm so big at this point. I know I was teeing off about it in the post game, but just a full, absolute top to bottom change. Right. And love those guys. I mean, honestly, I really do. Not an easy situation that any of these players are going to be in. And I know them not playing well has led to some of that or whatever. Some of it is circumstance. Some of them shouldn't be in the position that they're in. Maybe a little bit in over their head. It is what it is. Kudos to them for, rallying and playing hard. And they're tougher than me, man, because I wouldn't get out there and strap on the pads and get the hell beat out of me every single day while we're losing and people are pissed off about it. But I do think that there needs to be just a significant flip here. And it's roster, it's support staff, it just needs to be gutted. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, if you're really, you could have some changes and you could have some ebbs and flows and things to get better, but to really fix this and get it on the footing that everybody wants it to be, it just feels like you need to turn the page. Hell, forget that. Just a new book needs to be written, in my opinion.
No, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you on that. Shout out to Storytime Plays. Been a member for 3 months. He says, got my ticket spot for this Saturday. Well, cool. Well, it looks like, I'm not going to jinx it, but it looks like the weather's at least going to be better than it was the last 2 weeks. As of right now, I'm sure it's going to go wrong. Oh, man. Sunny and a high of 56. We're talking about some fall weather, boys. So it's going to look like Saturday. So
love it.
3 p.m. kick, right? Is that, 3 p.m., I believe, Mississippi State. So, yeah, it'll be great. Shout out to Joshua Byers, says, y'all finally got it. They're going to miss out on big hires. Would love AD to prove me wrong.
So I think he is the resident like Bobby guy, right?
Yeah.
But so. Josh, it's never that we ever estimated or underestimated or overestimated, I guess I should say, the Arkansas athletic department. We know that they are stupid and that they will screw this up. Our sentiment was that as a fan, you, me, all of us here, we should not be going into this accepting Bobby Petrino right off the bat. You should at least make other people say no, which is why you don't promote Bobby to head coach full time. This is why you don't remove the interim tag, because you have to at least do the process, go out there and try and get someone better. And then if you don't, which is likely, then we can kind of adjust. We very much like, I don't know why that makes you think like, oh, well, just because historically they suck at doing this, we should just go ahead and resign ourselves to an unhireable coach. I don't know why like that's hard to comprehend.
So love OKC Hog. Silverfield best beat goalish.
Hey, we got to talk about this.
Our head coach.
OKC Hog has abandoned ship. He's out on goalish now. He's been munching up on Silverfield in the chat all day.
He can stop bitching about his super chat not being read as we were going through all the super chats now, because that's all he's been doing for the last 10 minutes. We're getting there, brother. Take a deep breath, man. It's okay. And now you're belling on your guy.
I can't believe you.
It's unbelievable.
He goalish to the curb after one loss.
I'm so disappointed in seeing this, man. It's crazy. It is, but he did do it in a very typical of what an Arkansas coach would do fashion, based on how we just saw it go down at Memphis. That was crazy. I wanted to use this as an opportunity to mention Silverfield, by the way, because I said this on the Discord, but it is interesting how, Ryan Silverfield, he beats the school that we all love And then he beats the coaches that we all love to get this job, but we don't love him as it pertains to this job. And I do find that interesting. And I think what we zeroed in on is he just doesn't have that aura. It just doesn't seem like he has that it factor. But the dude wins, and he beats the P4 schools on his schedule, and he beats Arkansas, and he beats the hell out of literally every coach that you want Arkansas to hire. But we never really take him seriously as a candidate. I just find it interesting. That's all. So OKC Hall, good on you for starting that fan club.
I do love that. I can't believe, because OKC he's been spamming the chat for weeks talking about the OKC Thunder and Alex Golish. He used to do the Taylor Green thing. I don't think he does that anymore. But it's like, how do you feel that strongly to where you're sending?
Yeah, right. It's about tough timing there. I will say that it's. Go ahead, and I don't know.
No, I was just like, I just don't know how he got there. He just he abandoned ship so quickly after one game. Like that's tough. But no, I'm with you, Curtis, that Silverfield is, if there's anybody who's like helped themselves more this year than anybody. But I just can't get over the fact that all the Memphis coaches turn out to suck.
Well, I think it is funny, and I'm not generalizing the whole fan base. Like, it's just, the voting that we put up on InsideArkansas.com for the coaches is like, it's been a pretty major shift, and it's close. Like, the past couple of weeks, it's been kind of like overwhelming one coach, but it's really close right now. And like James Franklin's leading the way, but you got Rhett Lashry back in there. But the point is, somebody tweeted at me, be like, man, fans are just so overreactionary over 1 week. And I'm like, ooh, where'd you park your squad car, Dick Tracy? Fans are overreactionary. Who would have guessed? And it's like, that's just another direct example over one time. It's like, this guy sucks because of one game. It's like, nah, he's trash. Not going to be our coach. So
yeah. I gotta say though, the whole thing about like, well, other coaches who have come out of this program haven't done well. It's like, if we're looking for a reason to discredit somebody, that we have to look at other guys who have had the similar position. It's like, I'm out on Alex Golish because Charlie Strong got fired from there a few years ago. It's like, I mean, I get it to a degree, but I feel like we're really getting into the weeds when we're looking at other guys before, you know what I mean? Like, it's wild to me, but
yeah, I'm definitely not out on Silverfield by any stretch of the imagination. That's the thing that gives me pause, is that I've just, because I did the same thing with Norvell. I was like a huge Norvell guy, where I was like, dude, this dude's about to take over college football. I also thought Fuente was a stud. Like, I really did. And so I think I've just been burned by it to where I'm hesitant on it. But no, absolutely. Silverfield, whether you like, because I know there's some people who think he's awesome. There's some people who think he's unhireable. I'm in neither of those camps. That's just the thing that gives me pause. But I think he's absolutely in the mix, or should be. I mean, I just think it's funny that I can't get over OKC, man. Can't believe
it's wild behavior, honestly.
Yeah. Which, by the way, guys, real quick, just because we're talking about the voting on coaches and all that, it's still pretty much the same. I think one of the funniest things that I've seen, though, is how many votes, for some reason, I don't understand why, but the amount of votes that Gus Malzahn is getting in this, I just assume it's a troll. But it's like, whatever. It's, people need to, the familiarity, I think, always gets people. It's always about the familiarity. So we'll continue to get to our chats. Appreciate everybody. We got a lot of things they're trying to fit in here, but want to remind everybody, Bet Saracen's #1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas, and it's not even close. In fact, I know a lot of you are talking about some of the specials that they were having this past week for Razorback football, but also Razorback basketball too. Season specials and everything. You can only get it at Bet Saracen. And the greatest thing about Bet Saracen is we have the best deal for you. If you use our link by scanning that QR code right there on your screen, or if you click the link below, it'll take you to download the Bet Saracen app. And when you download it, it's going to give you an opportunity to put in a promo code. That promo code you need to use is Inside AR. Inside AR, because when you use that promo code, you bet $25 and you get $125. If you're one of those people that are like, Arkansas is not going to win another dadgum game, they suck. Okay, fine. Put your money where your mouth is and get that extra free money with Bet Saracen, where you put down $25, win $125, and make your wins that much more glorious when it comes to Bet Saracen. Again, download the app today by clicking the link in the description below or scanning that QR code using the code Inside AR, where you bet $25, get $125. All right, so more chats here too, because I know we're trying to squeeze in a lot of things here, folks. But that's one thing about October, is always so many things going on. But got to read super chats. Appreciate it. White River Cafe says Brian Flores ? Highly respected DC and looks like you'll be a head coach in the NFL again. Just spitballing a name, haven't heard. Dumb thought.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not for me.
Yeah.
I'm Brian Flores. I'm just bullish that I want it to be an offensive hire, which
Same.
James Franklin is, but then he really isn't. You know what I mean? But I can also look at his track record and what he's done and feel decent about the potential at Arkansas. But I think that's why I've probably become so high on Golish, man, because I see what he's doing at South Florida with that program, and obviously what he was involved with and his coordinator stops and everything like that. That's why it excites me. I just like exciting football, and for me, that's moving the ball up and down the field and scoring. And I'm sure if Arkansas was old school smash mouth and they were giving up 9 points a game or whatever and winning, I'd be excited about that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I want an offensive hire personally.
In the interest of saying that guys that come from the same coaching tree can't be good, he does come from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, which has not had a ton of success. I'm sure there's an example of someone who coached under Bill Belichick who wound up being a good head coach. I think Brian Flores would be the first that I can remember. He wasn't horrible in Miami as the head coach, but it seemed like the players hated him. And yeah, he's not an offensive guy, and he's not a college football guy. So it's like recruiting, NIL, like it's just a very different job. Not that he couldn't do it. He just would not be on my list personally.
Yeah. Also, too, I feel like did I forget a super chat? Someone was asking me. Oh, yeah. Sorry, from Cubs fan from the very get go. Said Petrino's offense with Arkansas, quote, new coach money. I don't really know what
I think that's just a guy saying he still wants Petrino.
Okay.
Basically,
Thank
like
you.
he just wants the Petrino running back with a DC.
Okay.
All that.
Thank you. I thought that was the case, but I sometimes don't read, so I just wanted to make sure that was the case there. All right, and also too, so we'll have a best and worst of the weekend that we'll get into. This one comes from Scalise. Again, the username things is throwing me off here in StreamYard. I don't know what the crap's going on, but anyway, he's like, Curtis, is there going to be a packed house tonight in Memphis?
Nah.
No.
I mean, it's an exhibition game. There wasn't anywhere remotely near a packed house at Bud Walton Arena for an exhibition the other day. I went and listened to like the three most recent Penny Hardaway press conferences just to see what he was saying about his team and everything. And he spent more time explaining why they don't have butts in the seats for their games than he did talking about his team. He's like, hey, we're competing with the Grizzlies. People are scared of downtown. It was all that stuff. Oh, we got a new team every year, so they don't feel connected, trying to get people back out. Like, it's a real struggle for him right now. And again, it's an exhibition. I think it'll be decent enough. Like, I think it'll be good because I think a decent amount of Arkansas fans will be there despite it being a late Monday night game. And also because of the Calipari back to Memphis and everything. I think it'll be a nice crowd, but no, I'm not expecting a packed house at FedEx Forum personally.
How much is that? It's a big venue, right?
I don't know.
I would assume it's
I'm
like
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like I'm curious of just maybe not the total number, but the percentages, like how many Razorback fans, will be there.
19,000. Sorry, at FedEx Forum. And no,
that'd have to be, that'd be an if they packed that out, I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I'll be curious to see if a lot of Razorback fans make the trip, but it's just the Monday night thing is not making excuses. It's just weird, like it's tough. So, but I'm sure if this game was in Bud Walton and it was a bad crowd, that would be the excuse. But it's Monday night, guys. Like, come on, what are we doing?
I spent multiple weeks thinking this game was Sunday, which wouldn't have made any sense to do a Friday Sunday exhibition thing. I just for some reason had Sunday in my brain of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just drive down to Memphis on a Sunday, and then Thursday night I was looking at things. I was like, oh wow, that game's definitely on Monday. It's interesting.
Well, there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and get into a little best and worst of the weekend action, because there is a few things that has transpired that I know is going to be discussed and talked about and have some fun with it. Honestly, guys, for my best of the weekend, I just have a few little small things to bring up. Number one, I think someone even in the chat said a shout to the women's soccer team, the soccer team, Arkansas. Shout to them winning the SEC once again. So that was really nice. But some other things too was just seeing of course, if you want to call it the Woo Pig weekend, but the Razorbacks and basketball being there and how fun that was, and seeing the excitement level of basketball. And I know, Curtis, you know all about this because you talk basketball literally daily, but it's just fun to, like, when I was at the football game, for instance, for Arkansas, I had people come up to me saying, oh yeah, this game, but hey, basketball. It's like just nice to have something positive to talk about with fans instead of, because it gets the excitement and the level of coaching searches and all that is fun, but because of how long this coaching search is going to be, it kind of wears thin and it gets tiresome to talk about either negative stuff or people being very passionate one way or the other and arguing all the time. But it's just nice to have the coming together of Razorback basketball. Like, that was one of the best of the weekend for me, is just the fans having something fun to talk about for a change.
Yeah, for sure. That's my best of the weekend also, and I don't even care that we're double dipping here because it's just true. There's something to be said for being back in Bud Walton Arena and seeing good ball. And honestly, like, this Arkansas team last year wound up being really good, but we didn't really get to witness them just beat the crap out of people very much because they were injured and they take the air out of the ball because they're only playing 6 dudes early. And, we just didn't get a lot of that. Arkansas played a pretty good high major team on Friday and beat the brakes off of them from start to finish. Like, it was just cool to see them do that. And I don't necessarily expect it to be as emphatic tonight or whatever. I hope they have another good performance, but it's a good team. I already feel more connected to them just because you have a little bit more continuity. And I think they've done a better job of, their social media content and getting some guys up there for press conferences. I think that they've made some changes to all that. And I hope it reflects in the attendance once we get into the actual season here. I know the reseeding thing is weird and we'll see what it looks like, but no, it was great to see, man. And people are excited about Arkansas basketball. Razorback fans need this. They deserve it with everything that's going on here. So I got to echo the kudos to Razorback basketball and Coach Cal. And I'm sure he's going to be absolutely hamming it up with this return to Memphis thing tonight. Whatever. I'm here for it. Sign me up, man.
I love that. Yeah, the best part of my weekend was definitely being in Bud Walton Friday. I'm trying, I'm already preparing myself. I just can't imagine they're going to have another game where just everything kind of goes perfect according to plan. The opponent is very much overwhelmed. And, Cincinnati, you could tell 3 minutes into that game, you weren't getting an effort from Cincinnati. They were not going to really give you all they had. I feel like Memphis, just based on nothing, I'm just saying, just the vibes. I feel like it happens in exhibitions where if you have one that goes super well, it's not necessarily going to go completely the other direction, but it's not going to go that well twice in a row. So I'm already preemptively lowering my expectations for tonight and not going to freak out if they only win by 7 or 8 or whatever. But my best of the weekend, John, I want to give a shout out to your boys, the Jets, the most storied program in NFL franchise history. But I want to give a shout out to Justin Fields, who I've always liked Justin Fields. I used to actually be a guy that said he was going to be better than Trevor Lawrence. Turned out both of them are not very good. But I was always a Justin Fields guy. Got his first win as a Jet this weekend, which they had to outscore the Bengals 23-7 in the fourth quarter to get. And Fields got very, very personal in the post-game press conference. Said he found himself on his floor in his closet, laying down crying this week, praying over and over again. Said he just needed one win. It's been a tough year for him. They were 0-7 coming into this game. You have the owner of the Jets literally being like, how could you win with a quarterback like this? That's a lot. And I know this is his third team now. So I'm sure personally there's a lot of doubt going on. And I don't anticipate this is going to turn around his NFL career and launch him into superstardom. But that made me happy seeing him, seeing a guy, because it has to suck, going through losing at any level. And for him to have a moment like that and then come back and win, that's pretty awesome. My other one, shout out to Austin Reeves, who dropped a 50 ball last night. Did y'all see that? 51 points. That's big time stuff with Luka out. I know it's 3 games into the year, but Austin Reeves so far this season averaging 34, 10, and 7. So Austin Reeves MVP chant. Yeah, let's get it going. By the way, I saw someone in the chat that was like, the reason why Arkansas sucks because they don't recruit guys like Austin Reeves, which is funny because that was a decade ago and a completely different staff. I think it was 2 staffs ago, actually, right?
It was
Mike
a long
Anderson
time.
didn't recruit him?
I think so. I'd have to go back to years. I know it's been a long time.
It was Mike, yeah.
Yeah.
It is, which, by the way, of course, Austin Reeves, diamond in the rough. Hog should have offered him all that, but it's I don't know if recruiting is necessarily what's holding this basketball program back.
Yeah. The same people's like, hey, Arkansas failed because they didn't recruit Scottie Pippen. It's like, okay, thanks. But no, also another quick best of the weekend. I know you guys had different experiences, but shout out to our guy Quinn. Glad he had a good time.
Yeah.
Glad he could make the trip. It's fun hanging out with him, fun seeing him. I know you guys had some fun experience with him there at the game, but I'm glad it was fun. I not like I was expecting it to just be Quinn disastrous or anything like that, but I'm just saying I'm glad that we were able to hang out, show him a good time, see what Fayetteville was his first trip, and he even said he was wanting to come back at some point. So glad for Quinn. Happy for him.
Quinn's a good dude. I had a good time hanging out with Quinn. He controlled himself at the game better than I anticipated, but boy, he was pissed for a while there. The second quarter in particular, he was not a happy camper, man. But
I gotta be honest. We haven't really said. I don't know if we've said this out loud yet, Curtis. At least publicly, we may have screwed the Hogs the other day.
We definitely did. I was hoping you wouldn't go there, but yeah.
We left when we left the stadium, it was 24-19, and Arkansas had just gotten that 4th and 4 stop or whatever, and things were feeling good. And then before we even got to the car, they had already had, I think they had 2 picks, a fumble or something. Before we even literally from the stadium to our car, Arkansas turned the ball over 3 times, and there was a 4th once we got in, and that was it.
We were hearing the thing from the crowd, like you know how it is. You're walking away, so and you've got it pulled up on your phone, and so you're actually like 20 seconds behind what's really going on. And based on what we were hearing from the stadium, Andrew and I were literally like, that sounds like an interception, because you're hearing just a very light roar, but it's not an Arkansas roar. It's enough to where it seems like Auburn just did something cool. And then no sooner than we got that out of our mouth, Quinn is like, pick 6. Oh my God, pick 6. Hugh Freeze, I love you. And we're just like, shit. Here we go, man.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of when we were at Stillwater, when we were trying to set up for the post game that we left a little early for the OKs and for Oklahoma State. And then we just kept hearing the crowd like, yeah, that didn't sound great there. So that's pretty tough. All right. For real quick, my worst of the weekend, and it's not anything like too awful, because again, I could do a lot of stuff that's pretty awful. Number one being though, I was kind of tongue in cheek, but kind of making jokes about the red that Arkansas uses and how it's just all over the place in shades. And I guess people really thought I was saying that this was more important than the coaching search, because there were people very mad at me for even suggesting that. I'm like, okay. On top of that, though, it's still like one of the things that bother me. But on top of that, too, I think it was one of the worst of the weekend was the Tennessee. It's not a big deal, but like Tennessee handling the coaching situation with their baseball team, because now it's like, I just don't get it. I really don't get the way that is handling, because they were saying, oh, this guy's the interim, but the one that there is a candidate, which was Elander. He's a candidate, but he's not the interim. It's like, okay. And then over the weekend, they're like, actually, no, Tennessee has promoted Josh Elander to head coach. So he's the head coach now. Like, awesome. Great. So it's like, again, this is just more of a general statement. Athletic departments that overthink things and just try to be, too stupid, which is just say, hey, let's just do this easy thing that makes the most sense and that the fans will be like in favor of, and let's just do this. It's like, that's encompassing with the color palette of Arkansas. Just do the simple things. Don't overcomplicate it. That's like, to me, the worst of the weekend is seeing how many people love making it more complicated than what it needs to be.
I feel you, man. It's interesting that you do that, because I'm sort of going in a similar direction with my worst of the weekend. For me, and we were in Bud Walton Friday night. We were at Razorback Stadium Saturday. The in-game entertainment, if that's what you want to call it, it just stinks, man. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't like the people who are doing it, because I do, but it just feels like there's zero situational awareness at all. And they have a really hard time capturing the crowd and the moment. It's almost like there's just a script that we are going to follow no matter what. Like right here, we're going to do this thing. It doesn't matter what's happening in the game. Like Arkansas gets stuffed on a 4th down, and then Auburn marches right down and scores a touchdown. It's like, oh, the loudest fans in the land. Let's check out the decibel meter. And people are like, woo, pig. You know what I mean? Like, okay, great. And it was just instance after instance after instance of that the entire game. Even when Arkansas was doing well, then they weren't doing that. It was crazy how all that went down. I was just thinking, man, this is nuts. And then being there with, with Quinn, who obviously he goes to every Auburn event that there is, but he's been traveling around. He was at Oklahoma and he's gotten a bunch of other places. And he understood like, the weather was, was tough, and the crowd's not, got an interim coach, all this, but even he was like, I don't understand like some of the things that are going on. It just feels crazy. And I agree. Like there's got to be a better way to capture the moments and everything there. And I felt that way at sometimes at Bud Walton Arena. As exciting as that game was, it would almost be like buzzkillish at certain times when you go into a timeout based on like the music selection or some of the things they were trying to do. It's like, I don't know, man. What's the plan here? So that's a worst of the weekend for me. It's just something that I hope, with everything else that they have going on, kind of like the color scheme, can we get this right, please? Because it seems like a simple thing.
You mentioned we need a complete overhaul of the football athletic department, and I think this needs to be included in that. I think they need to, and I'm not saying everyone needs to get fired. I just meant like they have to start from scratch in terms of, because I think there's a lot of things that they just do because that's what they've been doing, playing Stone Cold, although they don't do Stone Cold anymore, I don't think. It's a different third down song. But it's like kind of just the same bits that, like you said, Curtis, they're going to do the same bits, even if the moment doesn't really call for that. I think, obviously there's a tarnished relationship between Hog fans and the people that have the microphone sometimes. How about Friday night, whenever Daniel She was tweeting about this, when they just outright ignored, they were doing a poll of like, hey, make some noise for this song or make some noise for this song. They just outright ignored it. I think and listen, now maybe the fans, you can blame that on fans, but it's like, I just think there's a huge disconnect. And that's a word we've used a lot to describe the in-game atmosphere, football, basketball, baseball. There's a little bit of a disconnect. And I do think they need to just start from scratch of, hey, what are just normal everyday things that we need to do? I would also say, Curtis, we sat on the side of the stadium that had the band. And I don't know if I ever heard the band. And that's happened to me 3 or 4 times at Razorback Stadium, where I sit in the general vicinity of the band and the student section. I never hear either one.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's funny to your point. I want to give a shout out because I wish I could remember the song for the football game. But shout out Trey Biddy's Walk and Talk. He cracked me up, man, because I don't remember what song he was talking about late in the game when Arkansas was blowing this lead and they just started playing this like country song.
Eastbound and Down.
Yeah, Eastbound and Down, and he's like, "What the hell are we doing here?" Like, it just made me laugh so
he gets
hard.
It too. It's just like
it's so true. It's like the thing of why, like just why can't anyone just look at the scoreboard or pay attention to what the game is doing and be like, you know what, maybe just maybe this is not the best idea right here. Like let's do something else.
Listen, I understand that sometimes you do need to kind of prompt certain moments for certain cheers, but there's nothing worse. Like, imagine if you were like going out to a nightclub and you were going to enjoy some music, enjoy some drinks, maybe dance a little bit. You would lose your urge to dance if you had some 43-year-old white woman that was sitting out there like, come on, guys, we're going to come out here. We're going to dance. You're like, all of a sudden, like, okay, now I don't want to dance. Now I don't want to do it. So there is something too, whenever you have the 50-year-old guy on a microphone that's like, let's get loud. It's like, it almost makes you not want to participate, and it feels inauthentic. And it's like, we go to college football games just to live in that moment, and we cheer and we be loud and all that. And I understand you need to do certain cues here and there, maybe of, hey, it's time to stand up and call the Hogs. But it does seem like a very commercialized. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like very, I don't know. It feels very inauthentic. And I think fans feel that, and they kind of just scoff at it a lot of times.
Some of the ideas were good. Like I love the idea of having Brie Ellis out there for the Auburn game. You know what I mean? But it just stunk that it had to happen at the time that it did in the game. Because it's like, man, she probably didn't get the reception or ovation that she deserved because of where that was placed. And so, and I get it, because you like at certain times, like, oh, we need you down here at this point. But I would almost be like we gotta strike while the iron is hot. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Arkansas just made this run, and now they've got the lead, and let's get you out here for that and keep the momentum going, as opposed to, yeah, I know it's 10-0 here, and it's raining, and nobody's paying attention. But let's just go ahead and get this over with. I kind of felt bad for her, but
hey, what did y'all think of like, it's okay, right as the second half is about to start, there's like 12 seconds on the play clock. They hop on the PA and they're like, Razorback fans, there's a new quarterback in the game.
Yeah.
Let's get loud. And I'm like, we were already loud because it's the first play of the third quarter. We did not need you to prompt us to cheer for the first play of the third quarter. We also knew the backup was in the game. It's like, again, like, I don't know. It just feels a little weird to me.
I didn't hear that. That
I've
actually
never
happened.
Yes.
No, it
did.
definitely happened. I was stunned by it. I was like,
we looked at each other like, I've never heard that said.
Well, it was like Auburn was like, you know what? I'm always caught because, you know, like there's a rule that like if the ball is snapped and there's music playing, it's like a violation. Obviously, you're not allowed to play music during the play or whatever. So I'm always kind of cognizant of that. I'm like looking around. I'm like, they better mute this or whatever. So when he hopped on the mic, there was like 12 seconds. Like there was like a guy in motion. I'm like, you can't talk right now, dude. You cannot. You're not allowed to do this. It's illegal.
I'm just and that's another thing. Again, we could spend all day. I could spend all day talking about this, but I'm like, that's just saying that like, hey, our fans are stupid. And they don't understand what's happening. So here you go. Hey, by the way, backup quarterbacks in. It's like,
Phil
yes.
points out he had been in, like, he literally played the second half. He played, or in the first half, he played the final drive. And so it was just like, again, it was like, I don't know. It wasn't a big deal. It's not like the end of the world, but it's like, there's a lot of crap like that makes the atmosphere at games like a little bit weird.
Yeah. Well, also too, I got some grief from people. A lot of people agree with like when I was talking about the student section at the basketball games. I'm like, y'all don't do anything. And somebody's like, hey, shut up, buddy. It's an exhibition. I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. I didn't know that doing this with your finger is just too much for the student section during an exhibition game. You know, you can't get into it when you're doing this. It's like, just everything sucks. Everything sucks. Everything's bad. Just blow it up.
The college, I'm not hating on the students, but I would say that 90% of them being from Dallas has changed that, because that's something that like kids from Dallas have always gone to Arkansas, but it's never accounted for a higher percentage of the fan base than it does now. I talk to kids every single week that go to the University of Arkansas and are A&M fans or are Texas fans or are Oklahoma fans or are whatever. There are a lot of, I would say the vast majority of the student section are not Razorback fans, and that's not even a hot take.
They did get the "We Want Baba" chant right.
They did.
And loud enough for it to be heard on the broadcast. So I'll give them that.
At least they got that. Yeah. No, I mean, that's a little bit more important. I get it. But also really quick to your point, Andrew, I don't forget how mad I was. I was on the, I got to remember what it was called. When I was a student at the University of Arkansas, I was a part of the board of the collegiate membership to the Razorback Foundation. Yeah. Really, really easy to say. And the head of that board, our president, was a Texas fan. And I literally was irate about it. And it's just like some things I guess just haven't changed. So either way. All right. We'll get to some of your final chats here, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in. But we do have to get, of course, to our recruiting update presented by our friends over at Goat Lab Red, because we know that when it comes to watching games, there's no better place to do it when you have some great food and some great beers and brews and also a great atmosphere and a great time, great TVs, great everything. And that's what Goat Lab Red in Fayetteville provides for you. And they are open for lunch. They're open for dinner. There's a great place to pregame, to watch the games, to hang out for postgame. They're going to be open tonight. So if you're looking for a great place to watch the Razorbacks take on Memphis in this exhibition game, check it out at Goat Lab Red at 1214 North Garland Avenue. They're in Fayetteville. You can get one of their signature burgers, and you can also hang out and get some of their great deals. They also do the progressive wing deals on Saturdays for Razorback football games. There's no better place to be and no better place to hang out with Razorback events. So do it at Goat Lab Red, your new game day tradition. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into our recruiting update presented by Goat Lab Red with Dudley Dawson.
Covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Welcome to this quick update on the Inside Arkansas Recruiting podcast, sponsored by Goat Lab Brewery. I'm your host, Dudley Dawson. Biggest thing that's happened since we talked last, Brian Kelly fired at LSU. That was never a great fit. He's a good football coach. Obviously showed that at Notre Dame, but it never was a fit there. Came in dancing, trying to do a Southern draw, and it never worked out. Obviously, their Saturday night after a big loss to Texas A&M, they ended up letting him go yesterday. $54 million buyout has been tossed around. Also, the offensive coordinator got tossed this morning. So that's now 14 different jobs that are open, 12 that have coaches that have been canned during the season, 2 that were let go before the season. Arkansas is going to be out there in a mix of schools trying to hire a new head coach. Obviously, Bobby Petrino, the interim head coach, is 0-3 right now. Arkansas, I think, needs to make a decision quicker than later in terms of what they're going to do and what direction they're going to go. And it basically, to me, comes down to a couple of things. Can that guy recruit, and is he a fit here at Arkansas? Those are two of the most important things. It doesn't have to be the biggest name. He doesn't have to be somebody that's gone to the playoff, and you just got to have somebody that fits in this situation, somebody that can recruit, somebody that understands what Arkansas is about.
All right, there is your Inside Arkansas recruiting update with Dudley Dawson, presented by Goat Lab Red. So, recruiting will pick up in football. Don't worry, folks. It will once you get a new coach and everything. So there'll be a lot more updates coming along for that as well. Okay, a few more chats, guys, because again, had some super chats I want to get to. Also, Cubs fan said, I want Summerall, but BMFP's offense with more money. I guess he's still trying to get the BMFP.
So he wants BMFP to stay on as OC, maybe?
Maybe. But that's not going to happen.
I think you'll take Joe Craddock and you'll like it.
That's right. Forgot he was there. Also, too, there's some other chats. Again, we have a lot of them that were coming in. So, folks, we talked about a little bit of the soccer team there. Oh, yeah. Dylan said, 48-minute, 15-second pot at the Palace, exactly how I needed my week to start. God bless you, Curtis.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. A couple things. One, I'm just really excited about this basketball team. So I feel all of these episodes getting a little bit longer by the day, which is cool. Two, it was like post weekend. So we had the full preview of this Memphis game, and there's some recruiting stuff to talk about. So it was a longer episode. And three, I'm not an idiot. Like I know that the coaching search and stuff like that is going to be a huge and pertinent topic of conversation here. It's not like we're going to spend an hour talking about this exhibition basketball game on Inside Arkansas Live. Once we get into the real season, we'll see how that shifts a little bit, but, had to get all my thoughts in, man, but appreciate you tuning in. Shout out to the coffee club, and make sure you got a pot brewing for the post-game show tonight.
I would argue, Curtis, that of your many skills, obviously as a basketball guy, there's a lot of things you do well. I feel like the game preview stuff that you always do might be your best stuff.
Thanks, man.
Even going back to our days at Hog Sports, you would always. I remember there was one time, Curtis, where you were doing something, and I don't know if I didn't know if I did the whole story, but I had to like fill in for a couple slides of your like 10-slide preview, and I did it one time, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. That was way too much work. I don't want to do that for every game, but you do, man, and I always appreciate that. I feel like your game preview stuff and your matchups probably my favorite Curtis content.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very nice.
Well, I'm going to one up Andrew and say, I think all your content is great and it's my favorite. So,
oh, stop, guys.
Yeah. Shout out to, again, I'm sorry because of the stupid like username stuff, but Z Verdern 60 says, I'm always working, delivering packages for UPS when you guys are live. I'm off today and very stoked to tune in live for the first time. Hopefully we didn't let you down, but we appreciate it.
Yeah. Glad you're here. It's, it seems like every day we add a known listener who drives, whether it's a semi or, UPS, Amazon, anything like that. That's pretty cool. I like that. It's a good niche to have.
What's the power rankings of the best driving job? Like the most, the fun? I don't know. UPS is probably up there. It's like you're important. You're delivering things.
Yeah, UPS would be up there.
I like how the door's open,
Yeah.
You have the door open next to you. I like that.
I'll say, I'm not going to hate on you, but if you're a FedEx driver, y'all drive me up a wall because y'all will put a sticker on my door saying, hey, we're sorry we missed you. We tried to contact you. Didn't ring my doorbell, man. No, you didn't. And he's like, I got to go through all this mess to get a package. Never mind. No one cares about that stuff. Let's see. Also, shout out to Trey. Says, I'll be there, John. Also, I guess he's talking about the Mississippi State game this weekend. Will you be there? Because I want to meet you in person. I will be there, Trey. So if you want to meet, we will find a way.
Are you going to misidentify him again, or will you actually meet him?
Oh, I feel like I have to owe him at least a good meet.
Yeah.
Good handshake.
Nope. I'm not going there. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to say that. We'll meet up, Trey. Just hit me up. Then I'm just going to move on to this. Garrett just says, Andrew, tell me why the U of A won't give DVH the money to make more additions to Baumgartner Stadium. We need some baseball talk.
Well, this is a very nuanced conversation, and it's a good conversation to have. The short of the issue is the baseball program did not turn a profit last year, which is one of the most stunning things that I keep saying it out loud, and it always sounds fake when I say it. I don't know how in 2025, the best baseball team we've ever had, maybe not the most attendance, but it's like they had over 10,000 like every weekend series. I don't know how they did not turn a profit and what the operating cost was that led them to be in the minus. But ultimately, there's a lot that goes into it. But that is why, because the baseball program is not making a ton of money. It's hard to justify spending a ton of money on the baseball program. I will say there is a common misconception because DVH has been openly upset with his, situation with money, with revenue share, with NIL, with whatever. That makes people think that Arkansas is like behind the curve. Arkansas is still among the top nationally. Tony V is also upset with his rev share, which obviously he's no longer the coach anymore. He was upset. O'Sullivan at Florida, not thrilled about it. I've even heard that Jay Johnson ends up getting what he wants, but like Jay Johnson has to kind of nip and tuck and has to like really have to like fight for every dollar he gets. College baseball, as it's currently constructed, not one of the more profitable things. Historically, Arkansas is one of the 7 or 8 programs that make money, and even Arkansas is not making money. And so as much as the growth and popularity of the sport is going up and the interest, the money is just not quite there yet.
And finally, we got this from Kevin. Says, does Baba commit early or wait till the spring?
I have a feeling it might wait until the spring. There are a couple more schools that are trying to get him in for visits. And so whether or not that happens will determine it. I think he might wait, though.
I just know he's going to be a Razorback. That's all I know. So
there's a very good chance that's the case. Yeah.
I mean, how did you not go to Bud Walton Arena and have 8 students chant your name?
Hey, by the way,
you not do it.
Did y'all see that there was a certain Razorback Twitter account that tweeted out and he was like, "Oh man, love to see the student section chanting, 'We want Bobby.' That tells you how much support Petrino has." And he wasn't making a joke.
No.
He was being dead serious.
I did not see that.
He got absolutely obliterated.
I never thought of it from that standpoint. It was funny because Cincinnati has Baba Miller, on their team. And so they were doing that. And I was just wondering, you think does he think that Arkansas fans are trying to get him in the portal here while he's getting his ass worked by Trevor Brazil? I hope not. But the Bobby thing's even better. That's actually hilarious. I did not see that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just like, oh, see, they're chanting for you. Let's go, Brandon. It's kind of like one of those things like, nope, that's not what they were chanting. That's not what they were chanting. So a good way to end the show on a political note that won't piss anyone off. Guys, final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day.
See y'all tonight, man. Again, it's going to be a late one. Honestly, like Arkansas's game is set to start at 8. There is a game before. Like it's Vanderbilt and Memphis girls in that building. So hopefully it's not weird or doesn't run behind or whatever. Regardless, as soon as it's over, we're going to go live and we'll break it all down and talk about it. So make sure you hop in there, get your thoughts in, your chats, your reactions, takeaways, whatever you might have. And we'll have a little, Pot at the Palace after dark action. It'll be fun.
I'm excited. I feel like the game's going to end up tipping at like 8:14. And so the post-game show will probably be at about 10:30. And that's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Seriously, though, I always do love like these niche because you don't show up at an 11:30 p.m. Monday night stream unless you are a dude. You are a basketball junkie. If you're a real diehard, and those are who we we love everybody, but we love when we're in there with like the sickos.
Yeah. No, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I just have real quick 2 final thoughts. Shout out to Reagan Christian, who I didn't meet, but her friend over the weekend came up to me and said, if you could just give her a shout out because she loves y'all's show and she watches Inside Arkansas every day. So there's a shout out to you, Reagan. And 2, shout out to Joseph. Sometimes when I do these ticket things, which I'm going to try to do as much as I can for basketball again, if I get tickets and they're free and everything, I'll try to give them to Razorback fans who can go. But shout out to Joseph and his family. Got to meet him. Hooked him up with some tickets for the Razorback basketball exhibition game, and he was so thankful. And it was awesome to see Joseph and his 2 kids, his 2 boys go. There was his first Razorback event ever. They just moved to Russellville, and I was like, well, that's a pretty cool thing to do. And he drove up 2 hours just to do it there and back to go to this game. and talked about how much his son loves basketball. He says, and he doesn't mind me saying this, he says his son is autistic and but just loves Razorback basketball. And so that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff when we like to see that happen. So shout out to him. I'm glad you guys to enjoy it. And that's again, try to give, because I have people like, hey, do you got tickets? I will always, if I have tickets, I'll let everybody know that, hey, first come, first serve. I'll try to give them out again this year. Hopefully I don't have to do it too often because it's so packed and there's no tickets, but have a feeling I'm probably going to end up doing it again. But that's okay. That's okay. All for the Razorback fans. Appreciate each and every one of you listening and watching in Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas. Be sure to check out all of our podcasts, wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, Bombastic Podcast, Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, Inside Arkansas Football Podcast. We got it all here. You can also follow us on social media at Inside Arkansas as well. And that'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, intern Cameron, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you tonight for Pod at the Palace post-game show following Arkansas and Memphis.